and I'd like to welcome you to the conference.
Welcome everybody. This is an exciting day today. You know, we are arrived at a very crucial moment. So it's real and it's here today, and that's exactly what we want to show you. This is what it's all about today. So we're going to show you all these things. Our message is stick with DWG. I think probably it's better than Autodesk itself though. This was a bit, an overview of the applications, very, very brief overview. But I think it makes sense to realize that there is a huge market out there on DWG.
So, as Owen Wengert yesterday evening pointed out to me, he thinks this is one of his favorite slides. It shows the head of development at BricsCAD.
Create movies by rendering views from a point or along a path using any path. These movies can be used to show collaborators and clients your designs. In creating the movie, you have options like specifying the frame rate and resolution, the overall duration, a visual style, and the movie file format. Dimension style families consist of a parent style with one or more child styles. This is a handy way to make subtle modifications to just part of a dimension style. For instance, you can make linear and angular dimensions look different from each other. When you have more than one panel docked to the side of the screen, they now share the same space, with each panel getting its own tab. Whereas before the Layer Explorer had to be dismissed, now layer names and their settings are always available to you while drawing and editing through the Layer panel. The Content Browser dockable panel displays DWG and DXF content in a tree-like view from folders that you specify. When you start BricsCAD V17, the redesigned Getting Started dialog lets you easily select from user profiles and workspaces, open existing drawings, start drawings, and access educational resources like video tutorials. BricsCAD's unique quad cursor gains a new tabbed layout, designed to give our users faster access to groups within the quad. Atop the quad cursor is a new information field that reports data about entities over which the cursor is currently hovering. Use Match Perspective to define how a background photograph and a digital model are related, and obtain a view in which your model is rotated and scaled to nicely fit in the background image. Control and adjust how rendering textures are wrapped around shapes by changing their mapping or alignment. Use the box option to wrap around boxy shapes, the spherical option for globe shapes,
Alright, artificial intelligence. Let me start maybe with a word of reassurance. The designer always and will always have the final word. I want to take you to a few years ahead. Often in complex models, some modeling errors. Well, if there's alternatives, they can be suggested and they can be intelligently applied. It would be nice that you could have kind of an intelligently a copy style command.
Okay, good morning everybody. I'm just going to just model a bit. You may have already noticed that what I'm in now is just a Chrome browser. With this technology, you can run BricsCAD and third-party applications in any browser.
We propose our users to design in 3D as easy as they draw in 2D. And this year, we are here to say you that V17 became more direct, more parametric, more assembly, and so on.
3D Compare opens two drawing files and then reports the differences in 3D solids and 3D surfaces using color coding. This lets you quickly see the changes made to otherwise identical-looking drawings. The differences are represented as separate entities, displayed in two viewports. You have the option of leaving blocks and frozen layers out of the checking process. When you have the Communicator add-on, you can check differences in 3D models from other CAD systems, making BricsCAD a universal CAD model checker. Creating engineering objects like drills or augers by twisting 3D solids, surfaces and regions around an axis by an angle that you specify. Use the Thicken tool not only on surfaces, but also on wire objects, such as lines, circles and curves, to create tube-like objects with just a couple of clicks.
Will allow our customers to create their own libraries of reusable libraries of geometrical parametric elements which can be incorporated into their 3D solid.
Parametric components now define 3D solid features to be created on insertion. This lets you place user-defined features such as parametric holes, form features, and ribs.
Hello everyone, my name is Maria. I will tell about new features in generated drawing use. For detail use, it became possible to specify a rectangular boundary. You can generate a half section. An offset section is generated by bending cutting plane.
Yes, I'm supposed to be a sheet metal expert. After only 3 years, we can first create from scratch. We can create sheet metal parts starting from a solid. Then we can rework deeply an imported model and make it manufacturable. We can create or import part with lofted bend and unfold, of course. We can, you have seen, import, detect, replace, add form feature, special tools, and so on this year. We can create batch application to get all the unfolding in one click. So I insist on that. Some of our competitors can do some of those more or less correctly, some of those functionality, but only BricsCAD can do all of this correctly. Apply an angle. What about our competitor? Look at this. They rotate. Okay? Once again, because I like it. The rotation is around the bend axis. The flanges are reduced. There are no reason, never no reason to reduce the flanges. This is not a behavior. This is just a mistake. Just a mistake. That's crazy. And of course, in BricsCAD, we keep the design intent, of course.
With sheet metal for BricsCAD, you can import, create, unfold, rework, and export sheet metal parts using the most intuitive 3D direct modeling techniques. It is free of conceptual mistakes of history-based MCAD software. You will never need to restart your design from scratch, because we guarantee maximum flexibility for changing your models. BricsCAD V17 adds parametric form features to the sheet metal module. Form features mimic the process when a forming tool deforms a piece of sheet metal. After the form is applied, you can edit it directly and parametrically through the Properties bar. The library contains most commonly used form features, such as louver, bridge, and emboss. You can import form features from other systems and define your own custom forms. When you import geometry from other CAD systems, you can search for similar form features and then replace them with ones from your libraries. Flange bend lets you bend an existing flange along a line, obeying the K factor for given bend radius. The K factor determines how much of the material's thickness compresses and how much stretches during the bending process. When you import geometry, BricsCAD recognizes incorrectly made bends and automatically repairs them. Lofted bends gain a feature validation function, which lets you ensure that the bend will work correctly.
My name is Kevin Settlemeyer, and as Eric was hinting at, I've been involved with BIM tools for quite some time. So we'll start with a brand new feature, the structure browser. You've seen it in action a few times today, but in the case of the BIM environment, it's an interactive tree, and what that means is that when you select in the structure browser, it's highlighted and it's selected in the BIM. Now, BIM section creation, this has been around, but it's something that's a lot more intuitive now. You'll have dynamic movement once you're starting to place and locate the BIM sections initially, and there are multiple types. The thing that I find interesting about this is that you can start to do investigations on your designs. Rooms is a new feature. You can create and update rooms. You can auto-update rooms. You can do it manually. We'll show how that works. You can assign properties to those rooms, and you can also do data extraction on those rooms, and we call it Campus Complex. And this is it's 3 different buildings that are incorporated in the BIM. It's multi-levels. As I mentioned before, everything that's in the model is represented in this browser. And then we can expand this tree further. We can do that, and we can select them, and we could expand that and see that there's 11 rooms in there. Now, if you are at a point where you have the compositions set up, then you can expose the compositions browser. You can select the composition that you want. You can drag and drop it onto that component. Now we'll go to looking at BIM sections in a little bit more detail. So when I mentioned that this got a lot easier, we can select BIM section, and we can select a surface, and then we can start to define where we want that within the model. So when we talk about dynamic movement, that's what we mean in terms of when the sections are active. We can draw a rectangle. We can define a depth. And then once we've done that, then you have a volume section already set up. And if you wanted to just work with the geometry within that, we can select it and activate it. And then the whole model's there, but we're able to work on the specific detail in that area. So the 3 main pieces of this are creating the sections. You can generate the sections, and the commands are generate and open, and that creates layouts, and we'll show how you can bring multiple BIM sections into the same layout. Then you can use the BIM patch command, which we'll show, to to create the details and how you can edit that, and how even if you adjust the BIM, those details are moving with it. And BIM patch just allows you to focus where you want to have detail on the model. So change management becomes a big deal when you're working with BIM, when you're working on any project, actually. We'll quickly show just a few of the BIM sections that are set up. And one of the things that we just want to make clear is that you can have multiple BIM sections active at the same time. So we'll start by creating a section, we'll position the section somewhere in the middle. Once you create a section, you can name it, and then the call-outs on the BIM section will display that information. So now we can activate the BIM detail section. Again, it's as easy as just drawing a rectangle and then setting the depth. And we can isolate the geometry. And then now we can end up selecting both of those sections and define a destination. And so now we have these on the same layout. We can select the BIM patch command from the quad, and we can start to lay out a couple BIM patches on this to show a few examples. All the other information is still underneath, but we can edit that information that's at the surface to create and refine our details. So Peter's selecting a block of just a wall cap assembly that we can position. But the idea is that it allows you to add that detail where it's needed. And then once we save this one, now what we can do is we're going to add a few dimensions to it. Now we'll go back to what we can do is we can select that surface, select a position, and now we can go and we can select that detail section, we can update it. And if you remember those numbers, they've changed. And the patch moved with it. Yes, I didn't say the important part, Hans. Thank you very much. The patch moved with it. But the intent of that is that, as I mentioned before, if the geometry moves around, which never happens, that the BIM patches will move with it. Take those BIM sections, take those views, bring them into layouts, set up the sheets, and start to represent your designs and document them pretty quickly. The next near-term step is that data extraction will be opportunities to be schedules that are incorporated into layouts. The important thing is that it's quick and easy to get to the point of doing documentation.
But an important and I think also crucial aspect of building information modeling is that we're able to share this design information between different actors that are involved in a design or construction. So Bricsys is now becoming an international member of Building Smart. Probably one of the most known and widely used and implemented open standards of Building Smart are the Industry Foundation classes, or IFC. And the first example is to export it to a structural engineering software. We can see it looks a little bit different now. Now we're going to open this model again in a general IFC viewer. And if we go to the Model Explorer view of this IFC viewer, we can already see that the overall geometry and the overall structure is there. If we have a closer look at this second floor, we can see that all the geometry is exported.
Hello, my name is Jurgen Schiepers. I am a product manager for the Chapoo product. Of course, when you have this nice BIM model ready, you want to be able to collaborate on it or share it with the world, and for that you need a good cloud solution. So that, of course, is why Chapoo is here.
Chapoo features a building information model server, which enables you to centralize the information of a construction project. The most recent version is always immediately available. Chapoo keeps track of the latest version with the help of revisions. The Chapoo 3D Viewer allows you to view 3D CAD files online in your browser. With the integrated Data Explorer, you can browse through the entire structure of your model. Get rid of obliterating geometry by slicing your model to get optimal access to the part of interest. Move the slice planes in real time. Inspect the data of entities of your model by clicking on them. Use powerful filters to search and view single elements or groups of elements. View the selected entity in the 3D viewer. Focus on clean project communications and send messages to other people who are also participating in the project.